Welcome all our viewers to today's teachings on the Rock channel. My name is Reverend Dr. 𝗪𝗪, your host. I do hope you have been blessed by the teachings that are coming your way from this channel. It's a channel that believes that a life that is built on the principles and values of the Word of God is a life on the rock. And that rock, that life will surely withstand the inevitable storms of life. So far, we have been bringing teachings on marriage. Marriage being the first institution that God established after creation. Marriage is the bedrock of the home, the church, and the society. A lot of things are happening in our marriages today. Many marriages are packed up. They have broken down. Many that are still standing, they are just managing to stand. Many couples are living together as co-tenants in their matrimonial home. The blessedness, the joy, the bliss of marriage, that romance, that happiness that marriage gives, they are no more enjoying it. This is not the will of God for mankind. God had purposes for which He established marriage. And He laid down some principles which we have studied in the time past. We started this teaching from the scratch, the origin of marriage. And the essence of this teaching is to proffer solution, to help us find an alternative to all the bickerings, the fightings, the violence, the separation, the divorce that are rocking our homes today. And so far we have profiled intimacy as an alternative to divorce, the life of intimacy, a relationship that is built on intimacy as an alternative to that environment of fighting and quarreling and separation and divorce. And so if you have missed any of these teachings, you can still get them very simple. Just log into OTR channel, Reverend Dr. 𝗪𝗪, and you find all the teachings there, all in YouTube. All of them are there. And so last week we started to look at the various tools that can be used in developing this intimacy we are talking about. And in it, we talked about the team tool, the response tool, and then the blessing tool. And today, I want to look at the other tools. And so the fourth tool in developing intimacy, or that can be used to develop intimacy, is what I call the sharing tool. Intimacy life is about sharing everything together. And this lifestyle is developed by learning to share as much as possible. Sharing of times together to develop closeness, sharing of thoughts, interests, worries, to create liveliness, and at the same time, serenity of the mind. When we share our interests together, when we share our thoughts together, we kind of build up our minds. And when we also share our worries together, we diffuse tensions from our minds. We kind of, build up serenity, peace in our minds. Also, when we share gifts together in order to stir up love and passion for one another. We can also share faith together to build or to knit our spiritual lives together. We can share domestic responsibilities. Yes, the woman has her own roles to play. The man has his own roles to play. But we can still share them together. I can help my wife and she can help me. And in doing that, we kind of, generate support to one another. We can share ideas, we can share stories, we can share knowledge, we can share our past lives together. I can tell my wife some things about my life past when she was not there that she may want to know, or that may be interesting to her. You know, the more I let her know who I am, who I was, how I was before I met her, who I was before I met her, and then she also tell me her own, we'll be able to understand one another. You know, it will kind of, you know, generate understanding. It will foster understanding. And understanding is one of the bedrocks of intimacy. When the couples can understand one another, you know, they can be able to, you know, build together. They can be able to move together. This is very important. Now, if there are things about your spouse, about the spouses that are obscured to one another, if there are areas of my life that is dark, that my wife does not have access to, or she cannot understand it, or she doesn't know about it, there will be no proper understanding between us. So I put it here that if there are things about the spouses that are obscure to one another, there will be no proper understanding between them. And this will hamper the atmosphere of intimacy in that relationship. So sharing is a great tool in developing intimacy. You know, when we share things together, it opens the inner part of the heart so that emotional intimacy can be developed. So that was the fourth tool. The fifth tool, the contact tool. I call it the contact tool. The contact tool. Now, closeness breeds intimacy. The closer couples are, the more blended they become. This is more true in physical intimacy. As couples develop the habit of seizing every opportunity, you know, for body contacts, even outside the bed. It must not just be only in the bedroom that they can come together or they can have physical contact, even outside the bedroom. Now, when couples have the habit of holding hands when they are walking on the road, when they can look straight into the eyes, you know, their eyes when they are talking to one another, that's what I call eye contact. You know, when they can chat together, even online, maybe when they are not together, maybe one traveled, or that's they are miles apart from one another, but they can still communicate, they can still chat. That is a way of contact. They keep contact to one another, they communicate one another. They make sure that their distance will not just separate them. They will be chatting as if they are, you know, staying together. You know, all these and many more. There are many more ways of, you know, of physical contact. You know, I mean, all these will keep them. I mean, it will help them to keep each other in the mind. You know, and they will find it difficult to stay without one another. They will find it difficult to stay without one another. I want to share this testimony of, you know, myself and my wife. This is her own testimony and her experience. You know, she once said to her audience that she was talking to that, look, I find it difficult to stay without my husband because I have kind of developed this habit of whenever I'm with him, you know, I must make sure my body is very much close to his body, especially on the bed. She can't just sleep without putting any, at least, even if it is just her leg, you know, touching my own leg. With that, she's more than okay. And so whenever we travel, you know, either she travels or I travel, she finds it difficult to sleep. Now, what am I trying to bring here? You know, this habit of our having body contact has built our relationship so close, where we become so close to one another that we find it difficult to be away from each other. Now, this body contact will help, even when the idea of, maybe because we have a misunderstanding, no, I can't put up with this marriage again, I want to quit this relationship. Because you know you cannot stay without that person. Because there is this bond that has been developed through these contacts. You know, you'll find it difficult to to stay apart. So the idea of separation or divorce will not even come to the mind. And this is what intimacy is all about. Being together. And so these are the 5 tools that can be used generally to develop intimacy. There may be other tools, but these are the ones that I want to treat here so far. Now, but each of the different types of intimacy has their own tools. The emotional intimacy has tools that is best for developing that particular intimacy. Physical intimacy has its own tools. Spiritual intimacy has its own tools. Now, in order to help us to get the best of the knowledge, the best knowledge or understanding of how to develop this intimacy, we're going to look at these different types of intimacy deeply. That's one by one. We're going to x-ray them. We're going to scrutinize them. We're going to find out, how can I develop emotional intimacy? How can I develop physical intimacy? How can I develop spiritual intimacy? When we have an in-depth understanding of how these different types of intimacies can be developed, it will help us play our cards or play our games very well in the field. So that will be, in our next teaching, we'll start to look at it one by one. We'll take the emotional intimacy and digress it and find out how to develop it. Then after that, we'll move on to the other types. And now, I want to believe that you are being blessed by the teachings, not just for today alone, but the ones of the past. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe. It is important that you subscribe and press the like button, and also activate your notification button so that, when teachings are released, it comes automatically to your system. And don't just stop at subscribing, liking, but go ahead and share these teachings. There are so many people out there, your friends, your family members, your loved ones, who might be blessed, who may want to be beneficiaries of this, the knowledge that are from these teachings. Maybe they're going through issues in their relationships and they're almost calling it quits. These teachings will help them reactivate or bring the whole thing, the whole tension down, and chart a new course that will lead to marital happiness. And there may be also younger ones that are planning to enter into this marriage institution. Now, the knowledge they will get here will also help them. They will know ahead of time. They will know how to go about it, which step to take, which direction to move, and at the end, they will be blessed. If you're also having issues in your marriage and you want to discuss it personally with me, you can always reach out to me, send in your questions, and you will receive prompt answers, one-on-one answers, privately, as deeper, as much as you want, as much as the case may be. We'll try to look at it prayerfully together. I pray to God of heaven and earth to strengthen your relationship, to give you and your spouse a good heart, to be able to relate well with one another. Marriage should produce happiness in us. Marriage should produce peace and joy. There should be fun in our relationship. And I pray this will be your portion. And I pray that the hand of the wicked one, the devil, the enemies of our marriages will be taken far away from your relationship. Until our next teaching, God richly bless you. I remain once again your host, Reverend Dr. 𝗧𝗵𝗲 𝗔𝗯𝗔.